Hello and good morning, friends. Today I want to talk to you about pump chambers and high water alarms, what they are, why they're important, when you're going to see them, and what to do when they go off. Let's get into it. So whenever you have a septic system where maybe it's in a low-lying area, or maybe you just have to deal with getting the wastewater up a hill to wherever the drainage spot's supposed to be, you have to pump it there, right? So for the particular property that I'm at now, all of those woods over there, those are conservation woods. So you can't put anything over there. So the only spot that they could put the absorption system was uphill. So they ended up with a pump chamber. Now, pump chambers are basically just glorified sump pumps, right? In our area, how we construct them is just going to be a septic tank that's a little bit smaller than what you'd see up front with a normal septic tank. And they're going to put a grinder pump, and then they'll pump it to the distribution box where then everything becomes gravity fed. There are some systems out there like sand mounts, dose systems, or any other type of pressurized absorption system that will require a pump. And hopefully, if you have one, you have a high water alarm. Now, what is a high water alarm, you might be asking? So when you have a pump chamber, just like with a sump pump, you as a homeowner need to know, when is this thing not going to be working, right? If that pump fails for whatever reason, ideally, you get notified immediately, and that's where the alarm comes into play, right? So how the alarm works is basically there's a float inside of the tank or the pump chamber to where when the float's up, it connects the circuit, turns on the alarm, and then now you should be able to hear the alarm outside, inside, somewhere either by where you would park your car or you would cook breakfast, right? So either in the kitchen or the garage, right? So for this particular one, it's right there, which we're right next to the garage, right? So when the alarm goes off in our area, generally you're gonna have about 2 days to get it addressed, right? Most of the contractors in our area, they will either get there same day or you will be the first stop in the morning if your alarm goes off. So if your contractors aren't that good, you might wanna find a new one, right? So let's go ahead, take a look at the actual pump chamber, and then what we're gonna do is we're gonna take a look at the actual alarm and see what do they look like, how do they function. So let's get into it in 2 seconds. All right, so what we're looking right now at is the riser to the pump chamber. So in our area, anytime you have a pump chamber, it is required by code to have a manhole riser at grade. Basically, this allows so we can service the pump. So we can see here that we have on the right, these are electrical connections. This is going to be all the electric for the alarm, the floats, the pump, all that good stuff, right? These should always be in a waterproof box, and that way the gases and the water and stuff can't potentially get into it. This style, you won't normally see that often anymore. Usually these boxes will be placed on the outside of the riser to avoid any potential corrosion, or if the pump fails, any of the water getting into the tank. So over here, we can see this is going to be the pump line where when the pump turns on, the water will come up and out into the distribution box area. The other PVC pipe on that side, that is the float tree. That's where the floats for the pump controls as well as the high water alarm are going to sit. So if we look in there, we'll actually see the black float right there, all right? That little fella is going to be what turns the alarm on and off, right? These floats generally are little ball-shaped items. So you can see here, the one up top, that's going to be the alarm float, and the one on the bottom, that is the pump float, all right? So over time, that system will eventually fail as the pump pumps, and then eventually that alarm will go off and notify you that, hey, something's not working. A lot of times when you have this looks to be an original pump, you won't see any kind of disconnect or union on there. It'll just be straight glued pipe. So when it comes time to replace it, they're gonna have to cut that PVC to pull the pump out. The little blue rope that's right over here, that's in case for whatever reason, the pipe breaks, or for example, when they screw it into the pump, that falls off, they can pull the pump out, right? Nothing sucks more than losing a pump in a pump chamber. These pumps are basically just glorified sump pumps. They're a little bit bigger, but they function basically the exact same way. So now we've looked inside of the pump chamber, let's go ahead and take a look at the alarm box. Right, so with the alarm, you have to have a box, right? These come in a variety of shapes, sizes, and colors, but generally it'll be something very similar to this, or it'll have some kind of light indicator, it'll have a sound, it'll have an on-off / test button, right? So what'll happen is when that float goes off, you'll see that this lights up, and I'm gonna press it real quick, so just in case you're wearing headphones. So that's what you'll hear if, for example, that alarm goes off. Now, if you hear that alarm going off, that should hopefully be loud enough for you to hear in the garage or in the home. Sometimes these will be outside. Oftentimes though, you'll find them sitting right next to the circuit panel in the basement / utility room. So don't open it, don't mess with it, but if you ever hear the alarm going off, you need to make a phone call to your service provider to get things addressed. I always think it's fascinating to see what type of systems everybody else has and how those systems function, right? So leave a comment below. Tell me, do you have a septic system that has a pump chamber to it? Do you have a high water alarm? If you don't have a high water alarm, have you ever thought about getting one installed? Have you ever had an issue with the pump not pumping correctly and you have sewage come back to your home, right? That's never a fun experience. The goal of this is to kind of bring a little bit more of awareness to septic system pumps, as well as the alarms, which are basically your safety features, right? Not every system's gonna have one, right? It wasn't really a super common thing until the middle 2010s in our area. Now it's a complete requirement on any septic system that's gonna have a pump chamber. But if you went to a house from like the 1990s, you might not have one. They were still doing pumps even well before now. It just kind of was far and few between back in the day. A lot of times they would just go deeper so that way you could go and have gravity feed sewage to your septic tank, and you would just put your absorption system in whatever low-lying area there is. Like I said, for this particular property, they just happen to have forest conservation, so they can't really touch anything on the lower area of the property, so they have no choice but to go back up on the property, and the only way to do that is to pump it. So I hope you found this useful. If you enjoy content like this, I have more videos posted every day on the world of well and septic. Hit that like button, hit subscribe. Till next time, guys.